Are you recording?
Yeah.
What are you recording?
Just you.
Me on the telephone.
Exactly.
Alright, so now we're sitting over here in Sundbyberg, just chilling, looking at the old school tower.
Tower. It's not gonna be sharp.
I'll show you. Nice neighborhood. It's a good thing about Stockholm. Wherever you are, you're never far from the countryside. You can always see lots of trees. Sometimes you got some water. Got some rocks all over the place. Show them the rocks, baby. It's one big ass rock we're sitting on.
How am I supposed to show this, Ty?
Just tilt down, sitting on the rock.
We're sitting on a rock.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you texting?
I'm not texting. Marie's saying something, but my phone won't open. I remember when I was little, I wanted to run away, and I was gonna go live in the park. There was like a park not so far away from my house.
Okay.
There was like a big park, 10 times as big as this, with like a lot of trees.
Mm-hmm.
I packed my bags and like live in the park.
What did your parents do that you wanted to leave them?
I don't remember actually. I think my dad had this and shit.
Your dad?
Yeah, he promised that he was gonna take us somewhere, but then he didn't come. And he always did that. He always just promised he was gonna take us places and he didn't come. Bastard.
I know what not to do.
I will promise you that. My daughter's grown now, so I don't have to do that. I don't have to worry about that type of stuff anymore. It's cool.
Is it?
And I always went when I was supposed to do stuff for her, I did. Never broke promises to my daughter.
I will show her this video. Let's see what she says.
Yeah, she agreed. I was always at the basketball games and stuff. Pianos and...
Until you weren't allowed
dancing.
anymore because you were criticizing the coach?
No, what do you mean I wasn't allowed? I was always allowed. But it's just no one listened to me. I told the motherfuckers, I was like, yo, this dude is no good. It's gonna make your kids hate the sport. He don't have nothing good to say. He's always just fucking complaining all the time. He don't give them no positive encouragement. He's always just saying negative shit. Who likes that? If you're playing on a team, you don't want to have to play with one person or an extra person against you. Your coach is supposed to be on your side, not on the other person's side.
And he was on the wrong side all the time, or
He
what?
was always saying negative shit. He was always giving them negative feedback. He was yelling at them. It's like it's okay to yell sometimes, but you gotta yell some good shit too. You can't just yell negative stuff all the time. And it's like you're playing against an extra person on the other team.
Yeah, that's true.
Make no sense.
Interesting.
But none of those parents understood when I was trying to explain. You can't become other people's children.
Okay, noted.
It's not nice. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah.
I think the flower.
I was talking about the photo. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine.
All right. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
What I would like for you first, welcome to the show. Welcome to the 5T podcast.
Yes.
Who are you and how the fuck did you get caught up in the techno scene in Stockholm, Sweden?
Yeah, I'm Ullix. Shall we take this in English? Or can I do Swinglish?
well, you can switch up as much as you want, but the idea is we're trying to bring the whole, the vibe that we're doing here to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Because it's a relatively unique system that we have here. It's not so many cities in the world where we have to kind of go against the government that's like constantly trying to put us down, and the general culture that's a bit, how do you say it? Conservative.
Yeah, I know. I always like to stå på barrikaderna. I don't know how to say that in English.
Standing on the mountain side or mountain top?
Yeah, no, really like, the first one.
Yeah, on the edge, on the frontier.
Frontier, yeah. Yeah, I never like injustice or I don't like stupid rules that are there just to control people or put boundaries that is not meant to be there.
Okay, but did you grow up in Stockholm?
I was born in Örebro.
Okay.
And when I was 5, I moved to Lund and lived there for a year, and then to Linköping.
Okay.
And if you think Stockholm is conservative, Linköping was the most conservative town in Sweden.
Wow.
By the time. They were actually trying out new laws there to see if it worked. And when I was young, they actually already there had this sitting down discos.
Sitting down disco?
Yeah, not allowed to dance.
Ah, okay. Kind of like how it is now.
But the danstillstånd, as it called, is like an old law.
Yeah.
And for the last years, all the restaurants has been breaking this law actually, because it's not gone. It's been there already.
Okay, for the people that don't know, what's the danstillstånd?
Well, it's an old one, meaning that way back, let's say like during the 80s, you had these dance places. And dance places, they could serve alcohol, and they had to open until 2 o'clock.
Okay.
And then you had this restaurant, they were called like soup kitchen.
Okay.
Meaning you could serve like beer and wine, and you were cooking soup, you didn't have a real kitchen.
Okay.
So the permission was 2 different permission. One, you had the permission for soup kitchen, you could not dance. Or you had the permission for like a dance hall, like dansbana.
Okay.
And then you could serve alcohol and you were allowed to dance. But it's the same now. It's like the ground rule is like you have to sit down with your glass and you can't move around with it in your hand. So you have to drink it where you ordered it.
Where you're sitting.
And then when I was young, you could not only order something to drink. You had to eat something.
Okay.
So I spent, when I was young, my youth with eating ostbrickor. Yeah, we ordered a cheese plate.
Oh, okay, yeah, like
cheese plate and a bottle of wine.
Okay, nice.
Because we had to order food.
Okay.
At the same time as alcohol.
Fantastic. And this was like what you said, like in the 80s?
Yes, in the 80s.
Okay, fantastic.
In the 80s. And, well, I mean, Stockholm and Sweden was really boring at that time. So, in the, let's see, when I was like in the middle of the 80s, like 83 or something, I moved to Paris.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
How was that?
That was fantastic, actually.
Okay.
And I went there and I couldn't speak French yet. I had like 1.5 year on Convux to learn French. I could order like a café au lait or a little bit. And I went there to go to school. Because when I ended my gymnasium, I decided I'm going to be an actress. But not a normal actress, because I had such a hard time to remember all the lines. So I was going to be a mime actress.
A mime?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. So I went to Paris and I studied with Marcel Marceau.
Okay.
I don't know if everybody remember who he is, but he's the most
I'm
famous mime in the world.
Okay.
Is
the
that
most famous.
Huh?
The most famous mime in the world.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, he performed until he was 90 something, and then he died a fantastic. Yeah.
How was that experience? New city, new discipline.
Yeah, it was a bit complicated in the beginning because I couldn't speak French and all the lessons was in French. And the teacher was always telling blah, 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 something, and then you had to go up and improvise. And I was, day after day, I was trying to understand what he said, and one day I went, now I understand, so I threw myself out on the floor and I did an improvisation. And the teacher, she was French, she said, c'est très bien, mais c'est pas ça. Which means that was very good, but it was totally wrong.
How does that to be good and wrong at the same time?
Yeah, it was like it was not the team she asked for. I thought I understand, so I went out and did something.
Okay.
I just thought it was good, but it was not what she asked for.
Gotcha.
But the French theater teacher, they like to tell the same story all over again.
Yeah.
So little by little I learned in the French. And it was a very good time. I lived there between 83 until 90 about.
Okay.
So I went to school quite a long time. I started with a school called Jacques Lecoq,
Okay.
which was more comedian, clown, buffon, and you use the language too. And I wanted to do strictly mime, so I tried in for the Marceau school in the middle of that school. So after 1 year I changed.
Okay.
And I went to Marceau school for 3 years.
Hey.
Now, hey Ossian.
Hey, Ty.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I usually start off with the same question to everybody. Basically, who the fuck are you? And how did you end up in the Stockholm techno scene? What is your relevance to Stockholm's techno scene?
2 questions, okay. Who am I? Do you want to hear where I come from, my whole stories?
All that shit. Like, whatever you think is relevant, or whatever you want to say. This is your moment, bro.
Yeah.
Shine!
I mean, I was born in Malmö. By Peter and Karina, my parents. I was born in they lived in like a big old toothpaste factory.
Wow.
In Malmö. They occupied it.
Ah.
And so it all started out there, and they're like actor and musician parents, and they used to have these. Like lately I've been thinking back to because they had this club going on called the Kitchen Club in this factory, and I was lying in a small like vagga.
Okay, like the what's it called? Like the playpen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And they had these huge parties there. So it's sort of born at the club.
Born into it. Yeah.
And soon after that they broke up, and me and my mom moved to Stockholm. and I've mostly grown up with her, but always visiting my father. He's been traveling around, living in Malmö, Gothenburg, and a lot of England also.
Because your name Reynolds, that's not a very Swedish name.
No, it's from my father. He chose my last name. My mother chose the first name.
Okay.
So I mean, I think I always went to visit my father. I think the music and sort of the creativity in my upbringing came both from seeing both my parents doing what they love and like struggling with making that work, not choosing to just lay down their dreams and do something else. My father has lots of kids, but he's still been touring, working with like circuses, like contemporary circus in England. And I've always like been sitting next to his band when they've been rehearsing when I was a kid, and got sort of filled with melody.
Sorry, is that too loud for you?
No, that's fine.
Alright, cool.
So I got filled with music and melody and weird, strange life from them. And I mean, my first job, I started playing music in bands when I was 13, and it was all like death metal, hardcore, black metal.
What instruments did you play?
I play guitar.
Okay.
And I sang a little bit. And we used to, when we had this like place where youth go after school, and they had this stage. So we decided to organize these concerts when I was 14, and suddenly we had like 200 kids going to death metal concerts, and at the age of 14, 15. And
this is here in Stockholm?
Yeah, here in Stockholm. And so my musical journey started there, and I played in bands. I studied music production for college, and my first job was we had this place where we rehearsed with the band in Ullix the club in Slussen, yeah. And once we were rehearsing, I was 17 then, and we were finishing a rehearsal on a Saturday, and the boss came from the staff of the club, and we're like, we're in a situation. I just fired a bartender. Any one of you who can serve a drink? And I had been like serving maybe cider and wine at the circus in England. So
okay.
Like, yeah, I could do it, but I was not. I'm like 2 months before I was 18. Yeah. So, but I didn't say anything, and so my first shift was at this club called Decadence.
Okay, yeah.
And they put me in the basement.
Yeah.
With a guy called Bjarne. You remember Bjarne, maybe? Like the whole staff there was like Jakob Westling, Freppen, Angela, Rachel.
Okay, yeah, I remember those people.
The whole that crew. So.
You mean tall guy, kind of big? He almost looks like a bear.
No.
Okay, but I probably don't know about this.
He was friends with Jimmy from 420. There was like this whole group that was doing rave parties. But, but so I got to like know them there, and my first shift was in the dark room of Decadence.
Okay. This is Decadence that does the kinky parties.
Yeah,
basically.
The kinky parties.
Wow. What year was this?
Okay, I was 17, so it must be like what did I say? 2000. I was 12, 2005, 6.
Okay. Cool.
Something.
Yeah.
And I was like still into rock and roll, and every weekend I worked at Ullix and I went to play records at because I had like I don't know, I got the urge of like playing the music that I had for others, and so I asked some people at this rock club if I could start playing records there.
At Ullix?
And this was at Rocks. In Mariatorget.
Okay.
It was like a rock club. Been for ages there. Now, no longer. But so I started playing rock music there and working at Kolingsborg. And I mean, I never really felt at home in the rock scene because I was always a bit too strange for them.
It's too strange for the rockers, even.
Yeah, I mean, not the rockers are not so strange. When you come to like these rock clubs, they just want to hear the hits.
Oh,
like,
okay.
If you have like a Guns N' Roses album and you want to play the song that you like, you empty the dance floor. You gotta play like Sweet Child of Mine or like there are these songs. And so I had this partner called Björn, also another one, or Greven we call him, still a friend of mine, and he had to like double check every time I had a try, like, can I play this? Oh no, you gotta choose the hit. But sometimes he was like, okay, well, play that one, see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, and the floor empty.
Every time. Same reaction.
So I'm like, okay, and I'm playing there, and then I moved on to work at as a bartender at the Baser, and I got like from Kolingsborg. I started getting to know a lot of people from the techno scene, but I wasn't really into that yet. And I started working at the Baser, and at the same time I was a lot of like visiting England a lot, and I heard like dubstep and the electronic club scene over there. And I really liked dubstep, sort of. It was like, because it was so out there. It was so much bass and so like strange, hypnotic music. But all the club kids were loving it, and I was like, this is they're pushing. For me, at least, I thought this is pushing it, and I didn't really like see that this this heavy music could be so popular in clubs.
Exactly.
Like hypnotic and psychedelic.
A little bit slow, even.
Yeah.
It's not like put your hands in the air and dance.
No. Everybody's like dancing down. And it's like very tribal, and I like that. And while I was working at the Baser, I got to know Stefan and Gurra from Club Minimal.
Okay. Yeah.
He was the guard at the Baser, and I remember him playing like a record once. It was like they had a couple of bars, but one bar was in a room in the back, and there you could play like any type of music. The rest was more like indie and rock. But Stefan put on this record, like a Panpot Asem Shama remix. I really liked that, so he burnt me a copy. And
this is back in the CD days, then.
Yeah, CDs. And I mean, when I was DJing, I had all these CD cases, like with all, and I burned my own CDs for the rock clubs, like tracks, and so I had lots of CDs. I mean, I have maybe 1,000 CDs in boxes over here in the studio.
Wow.
Mostly death metal and black metal. But I mean, at that time also the band that I had, we played like this stoner rock, heavy fuzz rock, hypnotic music, but the band was sort of dissolving. We had this record deal going on, but it never went to anything, because the guy who wanted to sign us, he was really good label, and he had worked with like Helicopters and Backup Babies and all these artists. Cool. So it's like, this is really good. We want to sign here, but he came down and listened to some new songs that we had written. He was like, "You're really good guys, but I can't sell this."
Because it's not commercially viable.
No, it's like songs for like 10 minutes and the same riff going on all the time, and like so. And we were like, "Well, this is how we sound. We're not gonna start doing like
pop
more
shit.
commercial rock just because."
To get signed.
Yeah. So the band sort of dissolved. Like one member like, I don't want to play anymore, and then the second, and then I'm like, it's hard to get everyone together for rehearsals. And then I started going to these techno parties like after work, like after either the bar or when I was playing records. I went to these techno parties, not listening to the music really. It was just like a place where you could be after work, and it was a nice vibe, and I liked the people in that crowd, and so I started like playing around with the thought of DJing, because I had already like DJed for many years. Then this is about, I was maybe 22, 20. I mean, I started when I was 18 directly, so I had already DJed rock for 4 years. And I started thinking, because I like a lot of industrial and electronic rock. And I think it was at 2006 or 2007 I was at Roskilde. And I mean, all these thoughts about doing something else and not having a band was what I was trying to find something, an outlet for, or output for my creativity then. And then I saw Trente Möller at Roskilde.
Fantastic.
And he was like standing there with this like indie haircut and a Joy Division t-shirt, but it was full on rave. It was really cool, and he had a drummer and a whole dance crew, and like the show was amazing. And it sort of clicked for me, because I was like from this rock-driven energy, and then I liked the electronic, the dubstep and the techno. But he sort of it made sense when I saw him. Like, okay, I can do that.
Go. Cheers. 2021.
Yeah.
Welcome,
There you
Peter.
go.
Exactly.
You took care of the bar?
Exactly. So, who the fuck are you?
Well, Mohammed.
And how are you connected to the Swedish techno scene? Or the Stockholm techno scene?
Oh, okay. That's a question that kind of will require a long answer. But here we go. My name is Peter May Blacksall. British descent, Scottish, really way back. But I was born and raised here in Stockholm, Sweden. I've been DJing since my teen years. I used to hang out at a youth center in Stockholm.
Okay.
And that's where it all started.
What kind of music was that?
Oh, for me it was a lot of soul funk, 80s style, stuff like SOS Band, Change, and or some of these soul classics, soul artists that came from the 70s but then moved on to the more popular funk disco style of the 80s.
Okay.
And that was the music I played, and I played it at the youth center, and in that way I actually got I got the opportunity to DJ. Some guys from England discovered me and a friend, and they said, well, we work for this big company called Juliana Bacchus based in London that have contracts with hotels and other venues around Europe and the rest of the world, so I got a shot at it.
So you've been traveling all around Europe?
Yeah.
Wow. How old were you then?
I was about 18, 19.
Yeah.
And during that time when I jumped around to these different venues, it was set up, they had their own sound equipment, and they always supplied the records. You didn't have to carry, a big flight case with vinyl records and stuff those days,
So when you would go to the club and the records would already be there?
The records were there. You could always bring your own personal flavor, but you always knew what would be at the venue. So it wasn't any trouble that way, So.
Wow. So what did you do? Like the usual tourist spots?
Yeah, it was kind of, commercial places, it could be a hotel club. They had a bar or a club, and in those venues and those days, you actually had to use a microphone as well, play a couple of songs, and then you talked a little bit, and try to entertain the crowd in that sense.
Wow.
So classic thing. If you wanted to remind people what time it was. You never said exactly. You just said it's 1:15. You never said.
Why would you
know,
tell people what time?
because you don't want to chase people away. So you only say it's 1:15 instead of saying it's 11:15.
Why not skip the whole time?
Yeah, but
Wow, the night's over and I'm fucking
yeah, exactly. But it's more like, just you could chat a little bit and it's 1:15 and blah, 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 and here comes this song, and then you mixed in a new track and continuously. You played requests, which I hate doing nowadays.
Request at a techno party.
Yeah. But during those 2 years, that's when I discovered house music.
Okay, so you started off playing house.
Yeah, not much when I was traveling around because it wasn't that popular,
Did you say how old you was then?
Sorry?
Did you say how old you were?
Yeah, 18, 19, about around that age.
Fantastic.
This was about 85, 86, I think. Definitely, yeah, I think, no, maybe, yeah.
So the perfect age, you're like almost 20 years old, you're traveling all around Europe playing.
Yeah, I discovered house music.
Playing music.
And I was like, wow, this is good. I mean, I really liked it. I was so, fairly Jack Master Funk and all these
Do you remember
classic...
the moment? Do you remember like the first track that you heard or like one of the first experiences that you had?
Oh, yes. I was at a club in London. I did a one-day stop just to go to Oslo from, I think it was from, I was actually traveling from Dubai. So I went out and was at this club and I heard, I think it was it was there, what was his name now? The track was Love Can't Turn Around, which I know is a classic Chicago house track.
I know that.
Yeah, Love Can't Turn Around. I can't remember the name of the singer, but he could go really high-pitched.
And really low. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. That's a fat track.
Yeah, and that's when I discovered house music. And from there it just went on, and a couple of years later, Acid House came out, and wow, this is good. I mean, and it just continued. And after I finished working for Juliana's, I was back in Stockholm. I had no job, and a friend of mine, hey, come work at Gröna Lund, the fun fair. So I did one season, and the next season, when I was going to work there, I met Kari Lekebusch.
Okay.
And he worked at this thing called Disco Jet. He and another guy, Raul Blanco. No, Raul. Was it Raul Blanco? Never mind. But and they were, they had to play music at Disco Jet. Of course, the name, So, but sometimes it could be totally dead at Gröna Lund. Not nowadays, but then it could be, So Kari, he used to hook up his little Roland TB303 and just do these acid tracks. And I walked past one day and I went, wow. So we started chatting and he, have you been to these raves? I went, what? Rave? What are you talking about? Oh, we're doing a couple of raves this summer, so why don't you join me, come with me. So he brought me out to Lidingö, an outdoor party. First one I ever went to.
Okay.
And that's how I discovered techno and the whole rave scene. And this was 1991, I think.
91, wow.
Yeah. And the cool part about that party was that the organizers, they forgot to, and one of the DJs, they forgot to bring the pickups to the record players.
Okay.
So what Kari Lekebusch did, hooked up his drum machine and the TB303. And did live playing until they came with the pickups. And I was like blown away. Now this is the way.
That was your first experience?
Yes.
Wow.
When it came to techno, yeah. So from house music, it took me maybe 5 years to discover it.
Wow.
So I was so hooked.
Yeah. I can imagine after experience like that.
So I started going through my records, okay, acid house here, there. And I realized during those days, I bought some techno tracks as well. But I didn't realize I had it in my collection, Stuff like Geonactin's Model 500 and, and I realized I had it in my collection. And from there, okay, now fuck this, I'm all techno.
Oh my god.
Happy to see you finally still make it time. grown-up kid in like Valdos.
Oh, yeah.
That nose spray is really shining in the light.
But it has to be like the last one.
You think?
This has to be the tallest if you put this on top here.
So is this the right choice?
I think you should put something more stable on top. Also, like, you got a new toy here? It's leaning that way, you should do it that way. Like, why don't you look at your oar?
No, I don't want that.
Why?
I want the peak. This is the peak.
Just like.
I want it to have like a penis top.
Oh, of course you do.
There you go. You see? Now we can keep going.
Oh, what?
That's it. How much is that now?
No. I think you can add to this.
Yeah?
Like, let's not, like, you know, get too cocky over here. Like this.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh. Did you get that one at least? I think I won so far.
We're not competing.
We're always competing. It's what you don't want to understand.
Huh?
We're always competing.
No. You do not play with wine.
Exactly. Don't waste the fucking wine.
Okay.
It's really analyzed about the movements. I think it's very funny.
Okay. How was your French by this point?
It was good. Now I was speaking French.
You can speak French now.
Oui, je peux parler français, oui.
Oh, fancy.
Oui, je parle français couramment, mais ça fait assez longtemps que je n'ai pas pratiqué.
Oh.
Alors,
Fantastic. So how many languages do you speak total?
English, Swedish, and French, and of course body language. A little bit of German, but very little.
Okay, all right. But I saw some pictures of you modeling shots and stuff like that. Have you been modeling also?
Have I? No, a little bit.
Okay.
Little bit, but modeling and the movie thing. I hate to stay in line.
Okay.
And wait.
Like auditioning. Or?
No, but all the film is like you have to sit and wait, and wait, and get makeup and wait another hour, and so I like the theater more.
Yeah.
I like the theater more because you are a group of people that are working really close together, and you're building, you're constructing a play together. As well as the light, the music, the scenography. It's like you create this magic world together. And it's while you're doing it, it's actually you're learning so much about yourself. And that is what I like most. I like the when you're working in a group and you're being creative and you have this synergy that comes out from, you know, working with different people.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you stuck to, first you did the mime, and then you went to acting? Like on
Yes,
stage?
first I had a punk band.
Oh, okay.
We want to go further back.
Okay.
Yeah, I had two. My first band was called Aphrodite's Funny Farm.
Okay.
And it was me and all my different boyfriends.
Like all your boyfriends at the time, or like ex-boyfriends?
No, it's changed. It had a bass. It had a really good guitarist. Tage is his name. I think he's kind of famous now at the moment.
Okay.
And my best friend, my memory, that was playing the bass.
Yeah.
And we had a drummer that was, I think he was like he was much older than us.
Okay.
There was a professor that played the drums.
Oh, wow.
And then we had 2 saxophones, a lot of guitars, people passing through this kärlekens dårhus, as it means, Aphrodite's funny farm.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And I was singing.
Okay. Do you have any music of that? Do you have any recordings of that? You could maybe
not on that one, but I have on the next band.
Okay.
It's called Stulna begär.
What does that mean?
Begär, what is that called in... dangerous. Stolen liaison or something. Stolen, not needs, it's begär. It's like... when
Desires.
Desires, stolen desires.
Oh, that's a nice name. Stolen Desires.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And this was about the time when Thomas Leva came out, but it was first time performance, and also Lustans Lakejer.
Okay.
So our record was actually played at 84.
What's that?
That is this guy Sydney.
Okay.
He had a really nice club. And it's called also Big Brother at the moment. First it called 1984. And then he changed it to Big Brother. It was a very, very good club.
Okay. Is it this guy that's called Big Brother?
No, he's called Sydney. He was a black guy going,
Oh, yeah, but... Okay, yes.
I think he's probably in the photo book somewhere, because he was...
Okay, we're going to take a look through that too.
Yeah, I remember first time I went into his club. I had been out traveling in Greece, and I was very into like a little bit of punk. So I colored my hair, and I couldn't decide because I had black or blonde, so I had half. And I came back to Linköping, and it was really, really boring. So I went quickly up to Stockholm, and 2 of my best friends, also my band member, they had already moved here.
Okay.
And it was a weekend, and we were going out to this 1984, and they had been living here for half a year or something, and they were going like, it's only, not everybody can come in here, and it's really hard to get in.
Okay.
And I remember we went there, and we were standing in this big queue, and Sydney saw me. He went, well, come in. And my friends was really, well, fuck, we've been trying to get in this club half a year.
Fantastic. What type of music were they playing back then?
Oh, that was like disco, funk, also like Lustans Lakejer, Mauro Scocco, all these people that was in at the moment, and my first big boyfriend, long-time boyfriend, he was actually playing in Lustans Lakejer.
Okay.
He was playing keyboard, Janis Bukalder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your first like big love, or?
Yeah, I had crushes and things like this, but we were together for quite a long time.
Okay. How long? You remember?
Oh, I don't know. 5 years or more.
Oh wow, that is a long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very, very sweet guy.
You don't have any plans yet here?
Here?
Yeah.
One small step at a time. Not too much, I get nervous.
Yeah, of course.
And then you have this like, I envy like our parents' generation, because when they were gonna throw things away, you could just throw everything in one bin. But here you can get stuck in like environmentally sorting, which takes time.
Of course. It's okay.
Use that.
What? You feel like you've been wearing the same clothes a lot? Just like taking off your shirt in a way, because some people just go and they take your shirt off and it's like their natural state almost.
Yeah, and I don't care anything about, especially I don't even remember what people wear. I remember their faces and how they are and so, but still I feel that with myself I feel that, oh shit, now I'm having exactly the same stuff as last time. And I don't really get why it becomes such a big deal inside myself. Maybe the only explanation is that I want that tension. So let's try something new and make myself a bit more nervous, and then it gives. It's like a bit like in a relationship when you fight to have like makeup sex.
You do
it's
that?
Creating,
You're like creating problems to just like.
Yeah, Cindy told me like, Fredrik, are you just doing this to like have something to fight?
And I've always been driven by a feeling of like in the early days when I went to concerts when I saw like Marilyn Manson the first time when I was 13, I think, and my first thought was like, I want to do that.
Oh, fantastic.
And I've always been like, if I see someone doing something that I really like, I feel like I want to do it. Yeah. And it's a blessing and curse, because you can't really like just step back and enjoy something. Yeah. You need to dissect it and want to do it yourself. So I started playing around with like electronic music by myself, and as I had like got to know these people in the techno scene, a lot of them doing parties, like Kenneth and Jakob and Stefan and Gurra, so it was pretty easy for me to get like a warm-up gig or like a couple of like small gigs to start playing techno out at clubs. And I mean, through all these years, like playing in bands and then discovering techno, and I've always been producing by myself at home, experimenting with like, I don't know, genre really. I don't write music by genre, but I've been like producing weird electronic tracks by myself. Never released anything of that, but it's been like sort of teaching myself how to produce at the side of the bands and work in clubs. And so I started playing techno, it was maybe 2008, 2009. I had a few gigs, and then...
Do you remember what the first gig was?
I think I had a gig at Pluto for Syndrome.
Syndrome?
Yeah, Chemo and Matte Femton.
Yeah. And what the fuck ever happened to Matte?
I don't know, I haven't seen him for years. I mean, Chemo I'm still in contact with.
I think I've seen him recently, yeah.
But Matte Femton, I have no idea. And I played at like this psytrance party that Åsa was organizing. Åsa, I don't remember her last name. She lives in Bagarmossen. She's like this old lady. Åsa, she was like this old lady who was like grandma psytrance. and I liked like the trippy minimal stuff. I've always been into that, like a bit leaning to the side, but so I got a gig in a villa playing like trippy minimal. And Matte, my best friend, he always still tells me that was your best gig.
First one.
Still best. So it's like Pluto and this citrus party, and then I managed to convince Kenneth to let me warm up a gig at Fabriken. And I was supposed to play in the yard. Like first hours in the yard, no one is there. But
I did that.
And I came there, and Kenneth hadn't arrived yet. Classic Kenneth. So they were like, "Well, we need DJ for the big room, because people are gonna get here. It's better that we have sound in the main room." So I got swapped up to the big room, and Kenneth told me after, he was like, well, that's good, I know you're on time. That's a good thing, that's a plus, I'll book you again. Like,
You've been in the scene for a long time. I mean, compared to how it was then to now, I mean, is it, I wouldn't say better or worse, we don't have to get into better or worse, but was it like more people, less people? I mean, what was the vibe like? Was it more like hippie? Was it more like street kids? Was it more like punks? Or what was the people like?
Oh, in the beginning, I think the first year and a half or two, it was kind of like a clique, you know, people who discovered and knew what it, or had a feeling about what it was all about, and you know, they realized, you know, the UK with the with their rave breakbeat techno scene, and then Berlin and Germany had after the fall of the wall. But it took a couple of years, but all during these years, you know, the crowd was just mixed of all peoples from all different parts of society, and everything from people, you know, living in almost like in poverty to, you know, people coming in suits and just, you know, raving, going raving mad.
Well,
and it was, you know, people just...
Erica, since you're in the shop, can you pass the liquor?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you know, it's always good to have a little something to keep yourself buzzing while we're doing these types of things.
That's all right. No, so it was, that was the thing, you know, and of course in the beginning it was really romantic, you know. There, you know, like everything that's new and fresh, you have the kind of honeymoon period, you know. So it was really, really that, and we were a bunch of people just connecting, you know, from different places of Stockholm, and just came together, you know. This is the thing. Let's do it.
Fantastic. And now you're like what, 25, 26?
Yeah, 23, 24, 25, yeah.
Is this like before like the Docklands years, or?
Oh, this is way before the Dockland years. Dockland, I think, didn't start until 96. So it was, I met a couple of people, Magnus Ahn, Daniel Wennerdal, Daniel Alpha, people know him as Eric Shield, a guy who was really, really good and active during those days, and we have to throw a rave. We were so impressed, you know, especially a couple of organizers here in Stockholm or Sweden, but especially how they did it in the UK. And we wanted a huge warehouse party, and we wanted to bring in some good artists, you know, from abroad. So we had Robert Lehner, who used to make some, or still does, yeah. And he worked for Arnes, so he helped us out. Arnes Records.
Okay.
A great label for old school techno and stuff like that.
In Sweden? Or?
No, from Belgium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and he helped us out to hook up a couple of other artists like CJ Boland.
Okay.
And so we planned let's do a big fucking rave. So we managed to find a location in Hammarby Sjöstad, it's called nowadays. But during those days, it was just warehouses there. No living, no apartments, nothing. And it was a place where they had an old light factory, Luma. The place was actually called Luma.
Yeah, exactly.
Area. And we managed to rent this place for a week, so we just, okay.
For a week?
So we could, you know, prepare the location.
Wow. How much did that cost?
It was nothing really. Yeah. We didn't have to pay that much as we thought, because the landlord, he needed the cash.
Okay. And
people, you know, companies didn't want these places anymore because they didn't function. They didn't kind of up to par with the days, so to say, yeah. And so we just, brainstorm, let's do this. You know, so we booked CJ Boland, Robert Lehner, a couple of other artists. I played, Eric Shield played. And that was the first Age of Love party. And I think that was 94 or 93.
Was that the name of your group, Age of Love?
Yeah, Age of Love.
Okay. So now,
We got the name, the inspiration from the track Age of Love.
okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so
So that's where our organizing things start. We used to do smaller,
yeah.
kind of parties. But this was our first major one.
When you say smaller, you mean like 50 people, 100 people?
Yeah, 50, 100, 200, smaller. We found a club place or somewhere we can, throw a party. But this was our big major one. And
When would you
almost 1,200 paying
1,200
fucking
people?
maniac ravers.
in
Yes.
94?
In 94,
Wow.
93, 94. We just filled the place.
Fantastic.